Okay, in this video, I'm going to reveal to you some some hard to believe truths, of course. Again, just astounding information. Uh, so the money is the root of all evil. For a specific something happened. So there was an event that took place on the earth that happened during the War of Troy, roughly in that time period, which made money the root of all evil. It was when basically the gold coin showed up as a payment for soldiers, and mercenaries were created. Mercenaries were created by the goddesses who created mercenaries, and money. Also, goddesses brought money into the world as an attempt to disempower the god of war Ares. So basically, the god of war Ares possessed his soldiers, and he didn't ask them to follow him. So people didn't choose to follow Ares necessarily. Ares, or not, I keep saying Ares. It's Ares. Uh, it wasn't Ares yet, but they basically fought. Well, yeah, Ares would just possess the soldiers, and they'd force them to do what he want, force possession. You know what I mean? Like he didn't ask permission. It wasn't like the soldiers really, but they get courage and skill and war. They could fight like the god when they took the god and willingly took the god and fought the war. They would be absolutely brave. They would get courage, like uncanny courage, and well, the soldiers loved it because it certainly made it a relief to fight for the god of war, even though they didn't really want to do it. And they get paid money, which wasn't payment for the battle; it was just for spending money. So soldiers didn't used to get paid as a mercenary gets paid for their skill. So the better a mercenary is, the better, the greater, the more money he gets. So each mercenaries get paid different amounts of money depending on how good they are, and they get hired to fight. Now they're getting paid. So understand that by introducing money into the picture, it's not about the mercenary following the god or the god taking the mercenary and the mercenary getting payment from the god, which is courage and battle, skilled in battle. But the goddesses trained these mercenaries themselves and had help of gods too to do it. And then they created mercenaries. So mercenaries were created and invented when money was created and invented. And what they wanted to do is take away the power of Eris, the god, to be able to possess those men and them to obey him, because they're going to be like, I'm getting paid now, god of war. Like, I'm getting money. Like I'm fighting for the money. Fight, fight, fight. I'm fighting for the money. I'm a mercenary. Fight, fight, fight. And then Eris would possess them mercenaries and say, like, we're going to fight. And they'd say, well, yeah, we are fighting, but we have our own way of fighting. We're getting paid money for what we've agreed to do, and we don't need you. We really don't need you. No offense. Like basically, Ares, the god of war, gave them as payment skill in battle, courage, utter courage, and fortitude and constitution and dexterity. So like they gained a lot. They got paid from that god. Their likelihood to survive was much more because they fought with that god of war. It was like increased 80% their chance of survival. But often they died anyways because war is war. So the goddesses were geniuses. They said, well, look, like they're getting paid, the soldiers are getting paid courage, skill in battle, and they're getting absolute courage. And they weren't afraid to die. They were absolutely not afraid because Eris was literally doing that for them. And so they wanted to take Eris, even though they didn't want to take Eris. It was like worth it to do it. And they didn't get paid, but they did get paid a wage, but it wasn't literally for the battle or for the actual fight. And no matter how skilled you were as a soldier, and if you weren't a mercenary, you wouldn't get paid more. Some soldiers didn't get paid more than others. Well, by rank they might, but not by skill. And the goddesses put the monetary system in there, so men would have a way to get paid without needing to get paid from money. Would be their payment, and then they could learn how to fight. But from the other gods and goddesses would try to direct that. They'd be like, we're going to teach you how to fight. We got the help of these other gods, and we're going to pay you money, so you don't need to get anything from that god of Eris. If he comes around and says, I'm going to make you courageous and fearless and basically, yeah, you'll be a skilled warrior. Just you'll be a fighter like me because you got me. And ultimately, the goddesses, by making the money, put the money in there, The mercenaries themselves were created. The mercenaries are not soldiers; they're paid hired fighters, which are not using God as their reason to be skilled, have courage. They would acquire their courage through being trained by the goddesses. Would train the mercenaries, and they trained a bunch of mercenaries, and they planned, and they gave Ares in the Battle of Troy. They gave Ares the first job, which was to train mercenaries. Or, well, yeah, he was the first one to train the mercenaries. Well, they were already getting paid by the goddesses. They'd already had the instructions. So Eris failed in the first battle, and he never failed before. The god of war started the war of Troy and couldn't control the mercenaries because they were like, look, man, we already got our paid, our wage. We know what we're supposed to do, and we're not going to we don't need courage, or we've got already. Like the skill. Well, we're trained mercenaries. We're like soldiers. Yeah, like we're not getting. We don't need you anymore, God of War. Money was the root of all evil because it took away your reason to have a god or goddess, and ultimately the goddesses directed that, and it was supposed to mean take away your reason to have a god, or at least the god of war, Eris.